and experienced through India, shared food and stories with our co-travelers, or reached the platform gasping to find the train leaving with a merry whistle, and in a queue for tickets, dug through our wallets for exact change, complaining about the slow clerk. Have you ever thought about what goes on in the minds of the deadpan faces that peek through the grilled counter mechanically issuing tickets to faraway places while rooted to their seats? Doesn't this sound interesting? So let's quickly welcome our guest Sangeeta Valat today, and we are going to discuss her debut book, Platform Ticket. And before I start the conversation, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Mona Lisa Joshi, and this is my talk show called Mona Lisa's Talk Show. So hi Sangeeta, how are you? Welcome to the talk show.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So tell me, how's the weather in Dubai right now?
Oh, it's bright and sunny. I think it is some 43 degrees now. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's evening 5:30 and it's still no, it is 37 now. Yeah, but it feels like 46. That's what they always say. But 2 days back we went to see that lunar eclipse. We went to the desert at evening about 9:30. It was so very pleasant. So the summer is actually now going off. So soon another month's time we'll have a good weather.
wonderful. So I was reading the blurb, of course, in the beginning. I would like to tell that to the audience. If this only not interest you, you must quickly pick the book, Platform Ticket. So Sangeeta, please tell me that this is your debut, and I think it's a memoir. So how did all thing happen? How did the idea come to your mind that you want to write a memoir?
Yeah, it's my debut book and it's a memoir. Actually, I have written a couple of short stories which have been part of anthologies. So even this book, no, if you just try to read it, it is like short stories. So I'm so used to this 2,500 word format. So what I did was while writing this book also, every chapter somewhere around 2,500 words. So I just built it up like that. So I whenever I was writing all these short stories also, no, all those short stories had some element of train in it. Either the hero and the heroine meet in the platform or something happens in the ticket or the train or something. So that's when my friend Natasha Sharma, you must be knowing her, like author of Beneath Divided Sky. She was the one who told me, Sangeeta, it's high time you started writing these railway stories because it's inside your head that every time whatever you write, railways just pop out of your pages. So that's when I started writing, and I wrote it as a novella for the Penmanship Tailorthon event in
Right.
2022, and then yeah, so then Bangalore Literature Festival happened, and everything happened. I can give you those later in detail also, or if you want, I can give that in detail now also. You want me to talk about how this?
Yes, yes, it's your journey. You should talk about it.
Yeah, okay. So I started writing stories and I just started dabbling in writing in 2018 after my father passed away. Like it was my way of dealing with grief. In
Hmm.
2018 January, he passed away, and while I was traveling to Kerala for the 16th day, after the 16th day rites, rituals, with my mom alone in the train, I was just thinking like I'm going to my dad's ancestral house without my dad for the first time. So I just penned down all those things lying on the middle berth of the Alapi Express. And
Hmm.
my cousin, she just read it and she said, Sangeeta, you have something in you, so why don't you start a blog? So then we started a blog and I started writing my musings. So basically, I started writing a music. So I'm very comfortable writing my inner feelings. So writing a memoir was just an extension of it.
Hmm.
And after that, I joined the Artuns in Facebook writers group where I started writing short stories for all these prompts. And then when in 2022 I joined Penmancy for the Tailorthon event, that was 1 month, August 1, the whole month you are supposed to write every day. So by the end of the month, I had some 18,000 words of this raw platform ticket
Okay.
draft. And in 2023, when the Bangalore Literature Festival did call for submissions, again, the same Natasha Sharma who made me write these 18,000 words, she told me, why don't you apply for this? I said, no,
Right.
it's not yet ready. The book is not ready. I've just written 18,000 words. And I thought, like, I'm not ready to be an author yet. I mean, my journey is too short. I have to learn a lot.
Right.
So then, Bangalore Literature Festival, I applied for the Bangalore Literature Festival. I sent a sample chapter, and I was one of the 10 finalists, and I was called to Bangalore in 2023 to pitch my book. I was just given 3 minutes to pitch my book, and within those 3 minutes, I don't know, I managed to grab the attention of all the publishers. And then, of
Wonderful.
course, Penguin offered me the deal.
Wow,
I don't know what question you asked. I'm just blabbering. Yeah, I talk a
oh,
lot.
no, no, that's a wonderful story. Actually, it must be inspiring to many whoever will listen. So I'm sure people will soon start penning down their thoughts and apply for these literary fests. I
In
mean,
fact,
pitch.
I've been trying to tell everybody, like, even until 2023, I didn't know that Bangalore Literature Festival, they accept submissions and they publish you as well. So since my time, I've been trying to spread the word to everybody, like aspiring authors, please try this. Send it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, okay, you can try maybe next another year. So that
Right.
is one big platform where you're what directly you're meeting the big publishing houses. So
Hmm.
you have a chance, just grab it.
Wonderful. Okay, now I really want to know one thing. Since you have worked, I think as a commercial clerk, you have as your
Yeah.
workplace. So you have seen many people traveling. Of course, like we have also traveled through train during our childhood. We have seen the scenario how it is in the platform. So do you think much has changed from then and now if we compare?
Yeah, definitely. Some things have changed and some things haven't changed. Like the charm of the railways and the platforms are still the same. So that is something which will never go. Even
Right.
now, even the flight rates have just come down, but still trains are so packed and so full, and they're bringing out more new trains and services. So the charm of railways will always stay, at least in India, at least. And the main thing, what I feel, the amenities have changed a lot. Like nowadays, you have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi in railway stations, and you have these all those automatic display boards.
Hmm.
And nowadays, you get those SMSs. Like when once your birth is confirmed, you get a SMS onto your phone. In those
Right.
days, I remember we had to just go to the chart, and those charts were stuck on
Yes.
the trains, and those places you have to just go search for your name.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you remember, there was this interactive voice recording system when in
Right. Yeah.
Chennai, it was 139 or something. You have to call 139 and find out if there are berths available or if your berth is confirmed. So all those things have changed. Like railways have modernized so much, like everything has changed. And of course, the trains are also so very uh, modern now. All
Right.
those Vande Bharat where you can rotate the seats and all. One major thing about the cleanliness of the platforms, that is in our hands. Then now and wherever we are, we tend to dirty the place. And I always think, no, like when you go abroad, you don't do that. You even all these chocolate wrappers, you don't throw them out. You just keep them safely in your bag and then come and throw it at home. But in India, in railway stations especially, we just think we can throw anywhere, we can spit anywhere. So that cleanliness, I think, then now when wherever, however we human beings in India remain, we are going to maintain it like that. Recently, in a book I read, like Jodhpur railway station is one of the cleanliest railway stations in India. I don't know. I have to go to Jodhpur and check that out. Uh, Back
Right.
in those days, when we were traveling, like uh, I mean, I have this memory as well. Like I was a small child, and Chennai Central Station to Palakkad every summer vacation, my dad used to take me to the Higginbotham's bookstore and get a book, and then we
Hmm.
get into the train. And if there's a small kid of your age, we used to exchange those books, talk to them. We
Yes.
used to like share food with our co-travelers. But
Right.
nowadays, all those things don't happen. Like we are all so very busy with our own mobiles that we don't look at others. We don't even talk to our own family members while
Hmm.
traveling in the train.
True.
So all those charms, you remember those advertisements of the paper boat ads which comes, no?
Right.
That charm is slightly missing
Law.
nowadays. Yes.
And if
Yeah.
we talk from your perspective, since you have written a memoir, you must have chronicled many anecdotes, many stories that must have happened and stayed within you. So, do you think that is it a slow place now? Is the world is moving slow, or is really fast now?
The world is really moving very fast now, actually. And while while I was working in railways, I never noted down any of these anecdotes. Like I never thought I will become an author. Okay, so I was always very particular about reading, and I always travel with a book. I was even at work. I used to carry a book and go. So I never thought I'll become an author. Maybe if I'd noted down all those things, I would have been able to write more, I think.
Hmm.
So, uh, so I have not noted down any of those things. And the world is, yeah, really, even now, just see, 2025 just started and it's already what we are in the
Wow.
fag end of the year.
Exactly. I was
Yeah,
just talking this with my
yeah, just like the trains are moving so fast, the years are moving so fast, the hair is graying up so fast. Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Now, tell me that how did the stories like how did they come to you? Like you see the stories on the faces of the people or the travelers. How did you start writing all these stories and then they became like a complete book?
When I thought of writing this memoir, I was very sure that it should not be just my stories. Like every page shouldn't have only I, me, myself. I
Hmm.
wanted stories of the people around me. Like even all those short stories which I've written, no, I've always my imagination was slightly lesser, and it used to be what I see around. I just little bit of imagination I add to if I see a maid in my house, or if I see a beggar on the road, or whoever it is. I just observe them. I've always been a keen observer. I didn't know that since I started writing. Only I've realized that I've been a keen observer.
Hmm.
So I see all these people, and I'm very talkative. So I get stories from them, and I just add a little bit of imagination here and there, and just make those stories. So while writing this memoir, I was very sure I have to write about the people I have worked with, the passengers. Some of the passengers, as what I mean, uh, some of those people, they just stay in your mind. So
Hmm.
I was very sure I should write about those people, and they're the beggars on my platform. There's a whole chapter about the beggars living on my platform. So, so because I was very sure that I have to write all these people's stories, when I started writing, I just kept one chapter for one person.
Hmm.
My book is actually, it follows my life in a linear fashion also. Like I start the book right from the day I wrote my RRB exam, and then I had my first interview panel when I was just 16 years old, and after that I had to study 2 years in a special school, okay, because of I studied this railway vocational course in railway commercial, like 2 years. We had subjects of commerce with two subjects on railways. So we were
Hmm.
somebody who were trained to work in the ticket counters.
Okay.
So after those 2 years, I was expecting a posting somewhere close by home. I was posted in a small station in Karnataka. I didn't know the language. So at 20, I was just grappling with the new language, new environment. And the funny thing was, I was the first and the only lady in the station. There were some around 70 to 100 men in the station. I was 20, and I was just uh, too went behind the years kind of person. And so while in my book, if you read, no, you'll know that there is a chapter where I talk about the big crush I had about a station master in my station. Like he was much older than me. He was married. I knew nothing could happen, but then crush is a crush. So I've kept one chapter for him. I've kept a chapter for the colleagues I work with. I kept a chapter for after when I came and transferred to Chennai. I've written about the women I work with, their
Hmm.
struggles, how they face life in general, and the beggars in the platform. I talk about the runover incidents, train runover accidents. I mean, if you have traveled by train, you must have definitely seen train runover accidents, but you guys don't know what exactly happens after the accident happens. No, so I have given those insider information about everything what happens in a railway platform, and I have collected anecdotes of my colleagues and friends as well, like the There are ticket collectors, station masters, and train superintendents. I've collected their anecdotes. So this book is just not my memoir. I've made
Right.
it a memoir of the whole railway community as such.
Hmm.
Because these stories, as normal passengers, you wouldn't know what is happening.
Right.
So I've collected all those things. So all these stories, whatever was in my memory, I wrote them down. Then for the doubts and confusions which I had, I called up some of my friends. And one good thing is I'm still in touch with all those people. Right
Hmm.
from 1996, I joined railways. So all those people, I'm still friends with those people. So I contacted them. I told them like I have in fact written some very very intimate details about some of these people. I in fact told them like I'm writing all these stuff. Is it okay if I can write this? I just got the unwritten approval from everybody and then wrote about them. And yeah, so I called up some of my friends when they were telling whatever happened, their anecdotes. I noted them down, and then I've given everybody equal weightage in the book, basically. So the book
Right.
is not just about me; it's about a whole lot of uh, people, people
People.
who have passed through my platforms, basically.
Yes.
Yeah,
People from everyday life.
yeah,
Now, Sangeeta ji, I would like to ask you one thing. It is always believed that platform is a place where stories happen because you see the world go by. You see people walking, moving in their different kind of moods, emotions. So, is there any particular passenger that has, like his story or her story might have stayed with you and touched your heart? Something like that ever happened?
yeah. There are some stories. All those stories are actually written in the book. Uh, because you haven't read the book yet, I will just tell you one passenger about whom I've written in the book. Like there was this guy. I mean, in when I was in the reservation office. Okay, the reservation office, no, that we had these queues where whichever counter is vacant, you can come and take the ticket. But then I was very quick. Okay, where I was very very. I was called the express lady while I was issuing tickets. So I was very fast. So people used to just stand in my queue for a long. They even the other counters were even vacant. They wouldn't go there. They would come and stand in front of my queue. So there was this guy who we know that he's always very very irritating type of person, jobless guy who just buys tickets for all his neighbors and friends and everybody. He comes and he knows that he can irritate us very easily. So he doesn't go to the enquiry counter to check the train number or the details, everything. He just comes to our counter and he troubles us. He will tell, no, no, you only have to tell. You tell me which is the station, where is this train. He wouldn't even buy the ticket after that, after getting all those information. So once, actually, I saw him standing in my line. I knew that if he comes, my day is going to get spoiled. So I was
Okay.
trying to run away from that counter, but then it so happened like I couldn't go, and he came to my counter and he gave me a reservation form. The handwriting was very very bad. I couldn't read the handwriting, so I just asked him, "Why is your handwriting so bad? Why don't you write a proper reservation form and give me?" He told me, "No, I don't have my right hand, so I'm trying with my left hand." I got annoyed. I said, "You've been coming here regularly. I know your right hand is very well. So what happened to you?" Then that is when he took his what this Jaipur wooden hand, no, like
Okay.
wooden hand. He just put it on the counter and he said, just a month ago he met with an accident. A bus accident happened and he lost his hand. So he was trying to, not a month ago, a year ago or something. So he said, I'm just trying to practice writing with the left hand. So that is why the handwriting is so bad. So we were, I mean, I felt a little bit of guilt, like I was trying to wave this fellow away, but then he was also going through something. He has just lost his hand.
Hmm.
Then he told me like he's got a job in a different part of India. So he's going to that place and he will not trouble us anymore. So this is one of the passenger, and I remember one more passenger. I mean, there are so many passengers I've written about their stories as well. Like some passengers who we become very close, like they regularly come, and they these old men, no, they come and book reserve pilgrimage tickets where in our counter, and they come back and tell me, Madam, if you book the tickets, our pilgrimage was very fine. Like we got a good darshan. They come back with prasad and all those things. So it was. it was actually this customer dealing, no? So you get to talk to. I mean, even within the seconds we issue the tickets, I somehow make myself able. What I talk to those passengers, I get their information and all those things. So
Hmm.
we are called the frontline staff of railways. Okay, these commercial clerks. So when you come into a railway station, we are the first faces you see in a railway station.
Hmm.
So we interact with more people, and I get to write about all these people. I don't know if this passenger reads my book, he will know, Acha, this is me she's talking about. I don't think that is going to happen. But then there are so many stories of passengers also in my book. Yeah.
Lovely. So, would you like to read something from your book?
Hmm. Yeah. I've been talking about reservation office, so I will read about a Tatkal reservation. Like you
Okay.
must have all, I don't know whether you have ever been to a railway station and booked the Tatkal ticket. Have you?
My father used to do that.
Yeah, that's what. So in Tatkal, I think nowadays the timings have been changed. Like it is at 10 o'clock or something. Earlier it used to be 8 o'clock for all classes. 8 o'clock the counter opens. Along with
Hmm.
Tatkal, we are supposed to give the opening day tickets also. So it
Okay.
used to be so chaotic during Tatkal. So I will
Okay.
just read about that. At the stroke of 8, distraction would be disastrous. Precisely 20 seconds past 8 hours, I had my first ticket printed. With 3 berths confirmed and 1 on the waiting list, aided and abetted by the passengers who usually tendered the exact change for quick disposal. This worked even though I worked using one finger and used one for the space bar. I was a complete computer noob like most of us back in the day. Some days, after typing in all the particulars, the ticket printer would not cooperate or the system might hang. No buttons would work. Oh, the tension we would undergo, the ones inside and those standing in the queue, was immense. By then, a waiting list ticket would pop up. A typical 25 minutes past 8 hours in a PRS office, PRS is passenger reservation office, functioned like this. I took the form, eyed the details. As my fingers went clackety clack on the keyboard, pressed enter with a flourish, and I informed the ticket's position, confirmed or waiting list. Quickly counting the cash, dropping it into the drawer. Time couldn't be wasted in arranging the notes. They were in heaps in the drawer. I tore the ticket from the printer. At the same time, my left hand handed over the ticket and took the next reservation form. My right hand scribbled on the rear side of the earlier form the details of the berth issued, the cash received, and the change tendered. All this happened in under a minute, and then hit repeat. For these 25 minutes, our office was a cacophony of keys tapping, printing static, grumbling passengers, and creaking chairs as we issued tickets non-stop. Sometimes the number of berths for luxury classes was limited in Tatkal or even on the opening day of advance reservation. In a frenzy to issue confirmed tickets from my counter, in a moment of pride, I would mug up the reservation forms. My matriculation rote learning served. I would type on the keyboard and an ECRC, that is Enquiry Cum Reservation Clerk, assigned to the general shift would come early to help and tear the tickets from the printer. At the same time, the chief reservation supervisor would collect the cash. On these days, we printed 3 tickets in under 60 seconds. So there was a time when we used to work together to issue confirmed tickets for maximum people. Like nowadays, some people would say like reservation officers, people, railway staff, they don't work well. They're all chit chatting. But no, it wasn't like that. Like we were all very like that 8 o'clock when the counter opens. You know that adrenaline rush was so much. Like we had to give confirmed tickets for the passengers. The passenger standing is not my relative or a friend, but then it is a it is a matter of pride and happiness and satisfaction when you're able to give confirmed tickets for the passengers. So yeah, I
So, do you
even now
miss?
miss those Tatkal adrenaline rush. Yeah,
I was about to ask that. Do you miss that?
yeah, I do miss that. And after that, 8:30, I mean, by then all the tickets would have been actually waiting list and stuff. And I and my counter friend beside me, we would just go for a coffee break. Yes, that used to be the standard thing. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, I really want to ask you one more thing. That your stories definitely seem like a slice of life. So people, you're talking about the mundane and the daily life, ordinary people. So I'm sure you have already also mentioned that you have used anecdotes of people, your colleagues, or friends. Yes. So was it really easy or difficult to show the simplicity of passengers, travelers, and the entire ambience of the platform, or it was difficult for you in the beginning?
It wasn't difficult because when I started writing, no, it was like a movie running in front of me. I was just looking at whatever happened in my life and the passengers who came and the happenings in the platform. I was just able to look at like a movie. I could pause, I could rewind, I could fast forward, and I just had to write whatever I was
Hmm.
seeing on screen. And I've tried to be very, very honest with my book, like the narrative, whatever I've written about, with very, very, very little embellishments. I've just bared out my heart and soul in the books. I have not tried to. I've actually written the good and the bad things about railways, the good and the bad about people, and I've tried not to be judgmental of what I've written. Like I've just given the readers, see, this is what happened. This is how it happened. It is for you to take whether what we did was right or wrong. I will not tell. I'm not going to be a moral judge and tell no what she did was wrong or what I did was the best thing or right.
Hmm.
So while writing, I didn't have any difficulty. I'm where I mean, I wrote this book in 2.5 months. I don't know, the whole 74,000 words was just 2.5 months. I just wrote it down, and after that, of course, after Penguin came into the picture, only I started editing and all those things happened. So, touchwood, my publishing life has been very easy, just because just I completed the book and went for the Bangalore Lit Fest. So I didn't struggle much to get this book published. The main struggle is now promoting the book and trying to get the people to review the book. So that is the most difficult thing that's happening. So while writing, I didn't have any issues. Uh, I was able to write in just I don't know. I come continuously for 1.5 months. I was just sitting and continuously writing I don't know, like something was sitting on my head and making me write. So writing was the most easiest part.
Hmm.
Promoting and selling the book is more stuff. But there again, I've been very lucky. Like Penguin is a big
Yeah.
name and a big distributor and publisher. So their marketing team is wonderful. They've I don't know, like there are so many newspapers which have featured my book and reviews have come out. So all those things are good. And I would like to tell you one thing, like I've seen so many faces in my stream of work. Like every day, at least 200 to 300 people in a shift I used to see. So after I left railways, or even when I was transferred from Karnataka to Chennai, if I see some person, I would like think like, oh, I know this face. I've seen this person somewhere. Who, where? So I used to be so confused, and even now, no, when I see somebody, like there are some features which is like every person looks alike, and so many people, something or the other
Yeah.
connects. No, so if I see a person somewhere on the road or in a mall nowadays, I just think, oh, I know this person, and I'm somebody who will just directly go and ask them. I think I know you. How do I know you? And ask. Sometimes it'll be strangers, sometimes it'll be friends, and they'll tell, "How can you forget me, Sangeeta?" and all. So
Okay.
yeah, that is one thing. Like there are so many faces in my head. Like I'm so confused. In fact, more than faces, I have actually written in a book. I've seen so many fingers and hands that the counter opening is so small. Like mostly, I can see only the fingers. In my book, I've
Right.
written a sentence like I've seen so many fingers and hands, like short, lengthy, chipped, manicured, burnt, albino, all sorts of things.
Right.
And in fact, this particular line, when I was at Bangalore Literature Festival, just before the pitching event happened, I happened to see Dr. Sashi Tharoor, and I'm a big fan of him. So I ran behind him and I told him like I've come here for this pitching thing. And then he asked me like, what is the book about? I told him this is my railway life. I've been issuing tickets, and I told him like this particular sentence. I said like I've seen so many hands, ocean of hands I've seen in my duty, like all these types of hands. I said he said, "Oh my God, that's a very very lovely thing what you're telling." And he told
Yeah.
me, "Just go and do the pitch. Just do the pitch. What you told me, you will definitely get a publisher." So I got his blessings, and then I got Penguin. Yeah, that
Yes.
is all the more happy for me.
Yeah, the honesty is definitely reflecting, in your words and in your vibe. So I'm sure that must have also worked magic. And
Yeah, I don't think before talking. So same way I have not thought before writing. So whatever just comes, it just comes out like that. And same way I've just written it like that. Yeah.
lovely. And now, since you've written your memoir and you have mentioned, I guess almost all of your stories are out, or still there are many, and you would again write something like Platform Ticket, or prequel to it, maybe.
I'm
Sorry,
not,
sequel.
not railway stories per se, but then if this platform ticket becomes a, I don't know, a big bestseller and etc. And if Penguin wants me to write a sequel for platform ticket, because there are so many people who, after this book has come out, no, my colleagues and my friends, they are calling me and telling me, why didn't you ask my stories? I have more stories to tell. Please write my story. So I said, okay,
Okay.
let us see how platform ticket runs. Then we will think about the story. But
Yes.
for now, I'm actually writing a biography of 1971 war veteran, IAF, Indian Air Force helicopter pilot.
Hmm.
So I'm writing his biography. And after that, I'm planning to write a sequel to Platform Ticket. Basically, like after railways, my life is in the Middle East. So I want
Hmm.
to, like how I've given you the totally different picture about railways, like the picture which you don't know as a passenger. Same way,
Hmm.
I want to write about my life in the Middle East, like
Hmm.
uh, like the expat life in Middle East, which the others in India you wouldn't know what is exactly happening here. I'm planning to write the good and the bad
Right.
about the life in the Middle East. Yeah. So there are a couple of ideas in my head, and my table is messy, my head is messy, my laptop is messy. So many things happening. Yeah.
So we are looking forward to some other books, like memoir kind of, but different this time
Yeah,
from you.
actually, I think I'm quite comfortable talking about myself and my story, so I'm going the non-fiction route.
Ah,
So
that's wonderful.
yeah,
Wonderful. Because it's an art, to write a memoir. It's not easy for everybody
yeah,
because fiction is something where you can write anything. You don't have that kind of foundation. But memoir is
yeah,
something you are talking the truths and facts. You have to be careful as well.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's why, in my book, I've written about so many others. So I was little bit worried, like I might lose a friendship as well, because I've written very or intimate things about them. But then I called them and told them, see, this is what I'm writing in my book. You can read the book,
Hmm.
and if you don't like it, also call me and tell me. But luckily, I've not lost my friends. They've called me and said, no, Sangeeta, you've written my life in a very, very beautiful way. Like, I'm very happy. Like, otherwise, nobody will know about my life. So, my life also, you've given a voice to my life. So,
Hmm.
that way, and I've made more new friends after the book is out. Like, so many strangers who have read my book have reached out to me. Even today, one person reached out to me and he said, he's a Marathi author, and he said, I liked your book, I'm reading your book. I hope uh, soon translations happen. I said, yeah, if
Love,
God willing, that will also happen. So
love.
my friends list have just gone up like anything. Yeah,
Wonderful. So the book is doing good. The things are
yeah.
happening is also good, and blessings to you, and also
Thank you
God
so much.
speed that your book does wonder. I'm
Thank
sure
you
it's
so
already
much.
doing that because I was
Yeah,
just going
yeah,
through the reviews and people are loving your book, so that's
yeah.
wonderful thing to see.
One
So
thing I would like to add, like some of the
yeah,
people who have read my book have actually told me, like until now they have never given a second look or a second thought about the counter clerks. Now, after reading my book, they're telling like they're looking at the counter clerks in a kinder light. And next time I go to a railway station or a reservation office, I'm going to smile at the ticket clerk. So,
right.
so yeah, my job is done basically. Yeah.
Yes, that's a lovely compliment. I'm sure you've got.
Thank you.
So, Sangeeta, anything you would like to say to new writers, budding writers, maybe that could be of great help to them?
Yeah, what I would actually tell is like, don't think about what is going to happen. Before writing itself, you're always thinking about what will be the publishing journey, who's going to publish my book, or all those things. Don't think about all that. You have to write because inside there are so many stories which you want to tell. Just write them down. Then we can think about publishing and all those things. First, write. I mean, we have heard all these big authors tell like, write like nobody's going to read. So that is the best thing. I never thought anybody will be reading my memoir. I just wrote it because I just had to write it. So just write and read a lot. One thing which every writer should follow is you have to read, because without reading, your vocabulary, your imagination, nothing will work. You have to read. So there are so many writers who don't read at all. They say we don't have time to read, which is a very, very bad attitude. You have to read a lot. Only then you can read a lot.
Right.
Yeah, write like nobody's going to see your book. Just write your heart out. Be honest. That is a very important in writing. You have to be honest in whatever you do. Yeah. And please look at the. Am I don't know. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, my video is frozen. I don't know why. Okay, so basically that's what. The September after September 15th, this Bangalore Literature Festival thing will also happen. So aspiring writers, please look at the Bangalore Literature Festival page, and you can just send your sample chapters and a concept note. Yes, and please read, write, and please check out my copy of Platform Ticket and drop in a review as well.
Lovely. So I'm sure after the conversation, people will feel, attracted towards your book, and I'm definitely going to read it. But you just have to give me a little time because my book reading list
I
is
know.
huge right now.
Yeah, my TBR is also so much. Yeah.
Yes.
Buy the book, read at your leisure whenever you possible, and then definitely please drop in a review. And I would like to hear your thoughts about my book.
Sure, absolutely, I'll do that. And I will also request the audience that please give a read to Platform Ticket, because if you really want to, have this visual train journey through the chapters, through the pages, Platform Ticket is your book that you should get. So grab it, and also please watch this interview, and this will be uploaded soon on YouTube. Follow me on this page, and also subscribe to my channel. So thank you, Sangeeta, for joining me today all the way from Dubai. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much, Mona Lisa. It was lovely talking to you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye
Take
bye.
care.
Take care. Good night.
Good night.